live from the National News Studio, Sri Lanka.
Good evening and welcome to the 9 p.m. news telecast of the prestigious channel of Sri Lanka. I'm Charita Vinuparachi.
And I'm Kasani Balachandra Adhikari. We start off with a look at your headlines for tonight.
Colombo Stock Exchange records an all-time high so far. Data Protection Act taken up for debate in Parliament. Australian government loads the program of the government to prevent bribery and corruption. All necessary steps taken to control the spread of dengue, chikungunya and COVID, says the government. A mega program in the future to rid the wetlands of Sri Lanka of plastic and polythene. Kehelia Rabukwella gets bail in one case while indicted in another. 100 luxury buses for urban transport. Snap presidential elections of South Korea ends. On to those and other stories in detail now, and starting off with the top local story. The all-share price index of the Colombo stock market recorded an all-time high today.
According to broker companies, the increase in the shares of banks and finance companies has been the reason for this. At the end of the day's business, the value of the all-share price index has been recorded at 17,214.39 points. The previous highest was recorded on the 18th of February, which was recorded as 17,193.8 points.
And meanwhile, Minister Sunil Hadurnethi says that a special program has been implemented to upgrade the local sugar industry. He made these remarks answering a question raised in the Parliament today regarding the Sevanagala sugar factory. Leader of the opposition Sajith Premadasa questioned whether the government accepts the fact that the sugar factories belonging to the Lanka Sugar Company are running at a loss at present. He also questioned whether the government has focused attention to make them profitable. Minister Sunil Hadurnethi said that during the past regime under the rule of Dayagamage, the sugar factory was dissolved. Even during that period, they have recruited employees. Some employees have been appointed under the list of former Minister Jagat Pushpakumara. They have recruited a large number of employees from their native places. There are 5,400 employees in the Sevanagala factory in Palavatta. The present government has not removed even one employee from this factory. Even under this condition, the government reduced the price of sugar up to 260 rupees per kilo. No one commented on this action. There should be a permanent price for sugar. Therefore, the government has decided to fix a price for brown sugar. The minimum price of a kilo of sugar is 200 rupees plus VAT, that is 236 rupees. The market price may become between 260 to 270 rupees. The market price may be varying in that regard. Minister further said that there is a trade mafia in deciding the price of sugar. Even some officials who serve in this situation are in the official committee. They leak some important information to Facebook and social media. There is another news spread that 17,200 metric tons of sugarcane are in the Sevanagala area without proper market opportunities. The officer who had given this news to some media institutions is utterly false. The aim is to reduce the price of sugarcane at the market. When the government came into power, there were 33,000 metric tons of sugar that were to be sold. In addition, there were 5.5 million litres of ethanol at the time. No one said that these items cannot be sold at the market. The minister further said that the government will now allow these officials to carry out dual policies. Once the relevant officer was dismissed from the service, they started protest campaigns. There is no cause for a protest campaign. Sevanagala factory is not closed. The government will never close it. A small machine of the Sevanagala plant broken down and it was repaired without delay. Any political visit can Sevanagala factory, whether it is closed or functioning. All these false propaganda is spread by the opposition leader of Samagi Jana Balavega in that area. There is another councillor of Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna has also granite quarries. Mr. Aryashila Vikramatilaka has also a land in the Palavatta area. He had stated a dairy farm in that land. It is a good attempt. However, there is a problem with that to the right of this land. Then Mr. Dayakamage were very known of the 4 month further bankrupt.
Cabinet spokesman Minister Dr. Nalinda Jayatissa says that every possible measure has been taken to control the spread of dengue, chikungunya and COVID. The minister made these remarks at the Cabinet press briefing held today. Minister Dr. Nalinda Jayatissa said that authorities have focused their attention on the spread of dengue, chikungunya, influenza and COVID-19. In an effort to prevent the spread of these diseases, an awareness campaign has been launched involving not only the Ministry of Health but also provincial councils and other relevant institutions in a coordinated manner. Screening and testing of patients have been intensified and PCR testing capacity has been enhanced. The minister also commented on some false statements made by some media institutions regarding the medicine human immunoglobulin. Minister Dr. Nalinda Jayatissa clarified that the recent discussion regarding immunoglobulin is in no way related to former Minister K.D. Rupavahini. He stated that the immunoglobulin stocks currently in use were newly imported, have already been administered to patients and have elicited positive responses from them. Dr. Jayatissa expressed serious concerns over a particular media channel which in his view acted irresponsibly by disseminating inaccurate information. He emphasized that as media professionals, especially when reporting on sensitive matters such as national security and public health, there's a heightened responsibility to ensure accuracy. He noted that the media institution in question had clearly cited a presenter's statement claiming that the immunoglobulin stock previously associated with a legal case against Minister Rupavahini had been reapproved for use by the National Medicines Regulatory Authority. Dr. Jayatissa strongly refuted this claim, describing the report as a deliberate and deceptive attempt to undermine public trust in the healthcare system. He further expressed disappointment that the media outlet had not issued a correction and viewed the incident as a clear misuse of media freedom. According to the minister, spreading such misleading information, particularly when permitted to operate in the public interest, erodes essential public trust in the health sector. Dr. Jayatissa concluded by stating that relevant legal authorities have been informed to investigate the false report and to take legal actions against those who attempted to use it as a basis to push for new legislation under misleading pretense. The minister also answered a question raised by journalists regarding the national media policy. Minister Dr. Nalinda Jayatissa said that the Ministry of Mass Media was established to create an opportunity to carry forward a media policy formulated by stakeholders within the media sector itself. He noted that this was clearly communicated at the inception of the initiative. Dr. Jayatissa emphasized that the ministry does not seek credit for the process as the policy is being shaped by media professionals with the collective input and consensus of all involved. He assured that the government is committed to supporting the implementation of that policy going forward, expressing regret over a recent incident that the minister pointed out that a certain media outlet had distorted this objective. He reminded all parties that this is a national media policy, not a piece of legislation, and urged media institutions to understand the distinction. He further reiterated that the ministry's focus is on safeguarding both freedom of expression and publication, while also ensuring the protection of individual identity, dignity and privacy.
Human immunoglobulin
President Ananda Kumar Dissanayake held discussions with the Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Defence of Australia Richard Marles at the Presidential Secretariat this morning. The meeting focused on further strengthening the historic ties between Sri Lanka and Australia, with a particular emphasis on enhancing bilateral cooperation. President Dissanayake highlighted Sri Lanka's progress towards economic stability and briefed Deputy Prime Minister Marles on the government's ongoing efforts to combat corruption and fraud. He also expressed appreciation for the Australian government's support in recent maritime security operations and its assistance in addressing illegal trade, human trafficking, terrorism and arms smuggling. Australian High Commissioner to Sri Lanka, Paul Stephens, and several others were present on this occasion.
The Private Data Protection Draft Bill of Data Protection Act was taken up for debate for the second time in House today. Several ruling and opposition political representatives expressed miscellaneous ideas regarding the draft bill. Minister Aruna Karunatilaka acknowledged concerns raised by some individuals about the potential invasion of privacy when personal data is submitted. He emphasized that similar to many countries around the world, it is possible to implement mechanisms to protect personal data while also safeguarding individual privacy. Opposition MP Ajit P. Pereira of the Samagijana Balavege commended the government for bringing forward amendments to the legislation, noting that it addresses practical issues that have emerged over more than 2 years of use. Opposition MP Nama Rajpaksha criticized a recent statement by the Minister of Justice regarding a court ruling. He questioned how such claims could be made, particularly by someone with experience in the Attorney General's department. In response, Minister of Justice Harshan Rajkarna urged MPs not to level accusations based on edited videos. He offered to share the full version of his statement and emphasized that parliamentary time should be used to discuss the bill. Opposition MP Nama Rajpaksha responded by alleging that the government lacked a clear understanding on the issue at hand. Minister Rangavira Ratna addressed technical concerns regarding the national digital infrastructure. He questioned whether those criticizing the system even understood the basics of data center capacity, memory and storage. He explained that the new digital ID system was developed in a way that met both national and international standards, including lessons learned from India. He assured the House that the system was built with strong data protection protocols in place and noted that tender process would be finalized in the coming month to move implementation forward.
උත්තර දෙන්න කවුද? හැබැයි බොරු කියන්න එපා. ඉතින් බොරු ආපතුම ඇවිල්ලා. මම දැන් කල්පනා කළේ මම ගෙදර ඉඳන් උත්තර දෙන්නද පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ උත්තර දෙන්නද කියලා. විමල් ඇමතුමා ගෙදර ඉඳන් දුන්නත් මට ප්‍රශ්නයක් නැහැ. ගම මෙහෙ ඉඳන් දුන්නා කමන්නේ මොකද අපි දෙන්න එක ගමේ. අපිට වෛරය වැඩක් නැහැ. ඉරිසියා වැඩක් අපි තරහකාරයෝ නැහැ. ඉතින් ගමේ කම තියෙනවා නාටිකන්තිරේ ඔය වෙනම කාරණා. හැබැයි ලංකාවේ හැම මිනිස්සෙම නෑදෑයෝ. හොයලා බැලුවොත් මෙතුමලා තමයි දැන් මෙතුමලාට විරුද්ධව ඔක්කොම කරලා දැන් සභා හදන්න හදන්නේ. හරිද? එකට සභා හදන්න හදන්නේ.
ඉතින් අපි කියන්න කැමති සමහර ඩේටා ඒ කාලේ හැංගුවට දැන් දත්ත එළියට අවිල්ලා තියෙන්නේ. ඒ කාලේ හංගගෙන සෙල්ලම් කරාට
Minister Samantha Vidyaratna stated that previously hidden data had now come to light and historical corrupt practices, particularly in the sports sector, were being addressed. He noted that the current administration was committed not only to collecting and analyzing data, but also to using it as the basis for effective decision-making and governance. He emphasized that the government is now moving forward without corruption in sports administration and other areas with greater transparency in public data.
And meanwhile, the son of former Minister Kehelia Ramukwella, Ramit Ramukwella, who was under remand custody so far, was released on bail today under an order of the Colombo Chief Magistrate Tanuja Lakpali. Former Minister Kehelia Ramukwella, his son and former coordinating secretary of the ministry were remanded recently under 3 allegations of causing a loss of over 8 million rupees to the government. The allegations against that they are unably recruiting 15 persons to his private staff when he was the Minister of Mass Media, Health and Environment. The other allegations are obtaining salaries, allowances and overtime allowances belonging to the namely appointed employees. The Colombo Chief Magistrate ordered the suspect to be released under cash bail amounting to 50,000 rupees each and 2 personal bails each worth 1 million rupees. The suspect were also banned foreign travels. The case is scheduled to be summoned against on the 20th of October, rather the 10th of October. Meanwhile, the Attorney General today informed the Supreme Court that indictment will be submitted before 3-member panel of High Court judges against several respondents, including former Health Minister Kehelia Ramukwella, regarding the purchase of substandard human immunoglobulin vaccine. This was stated today with the fundamental rights petition filed against the former Minister Kehelia Ramukwella and others. The respondents have been charged of purchasing substandard vaccines under unregistered 2 Indian companies in Sri Lanka under the Indian credit line given to Sri Lanka during the past period. The Supreme Court today granted leave to appeal to hear petitions filed against former President Ranil Wickremesinghe has violated basic human rights by issuing license for liquor shops as the Minister of Finance against the Excise Act once the presidential election was declared. The Supreme Court also ordered the Presidential Commissioner General of Excise Department to submit a report of liquor license issued during the period of declaration last presidential election and during the last year.
Just as water is to human body, wetlands are the environment of the water which gives life to earth.
And these valuable ecological systems could be damaged when polythene or any other product of human use is released to the environment for our convenience.
This Environment Week reminds us that releasing polythene to wetlands is definitely not an option. Sri Lanka, endowed with greenery, has been protected by the nature since past due. Due to this reason, during natural disasters, these environment systems provide protection by itself to wetland ecosystem connected with nature. Wetlands, which are like green lungs of the world, fulfill a limitless service environmentally. They also purify water and also act as an underground water reserve, which provides support in flood control too. Wetlands absorb around 15 million gallons of water during a year globally. Meanwhile, more than 40 million tons of plastic waste is relapsed to the environment annually. Most of it finally reach the oceans or the wetlands. So, in order to preserve animal lives and environmental beauty of water origins related to wetlands, banning of polythene and plastics, though a simple step, will be a giant task. Colombo City has been named the first wetland capital of the world by the Ramsar Accord. The reason being the availability of a large number of wetlands around it. These include Diatha, Diasaru, Gotatua, Bellam Bird Park and a number of other wetland parks. Somehow by now, wetlands have received a death blow due to human activities. Plastic, polythene and electronic waste exist there as firearms. Under such circumstances, the Parks Control Authority has taken a decisive step by banning the use of plastics and polythene in wetland parks and around them, parallel to the Environment Day this year. This can be considered as a successful start to protecting wetlands of this country. Accordingly, it has been a striking feature that these wetlands have become zones without plastic and polythene. Protection of wetlands has become an essential part of an international economic legal system as well. The first consignment of imported coconut milk containers were opened at the Orugodawata RCT premises yesterday. Coconut milk has been imported according to a decision taken by the Coconut Development Board and the Ministry of Plantation and Industries. This step has been taken as a solution to the prevailing coconut shortage in the country. According to the Coconut Development Authority, steps will be taken to supply necessary stocks of coconut milk for the industries and to control the price of coconut in the open market. Chairman of Coconut Development Authority Shantaranathan stated that the first consignment of imported raw materials had been thoroughly inspected. According to him, a dedicated inspection team from the authority was deployed on site to oversee the process. The containers were opened under their supervision and sampling and examination were carried out immediately. He explained that following the initial inspection, the samples would be sent to factories for further testing. Only if these assessments are satisfactory would the important entities be allowed to proceed with further shipments of similar materials.
And attention will now be focused for several cabinet decisions. It has also been proposed to the budget that a fleet of compatible and high-tech buses be introduced as a pilot project for the modernization of public transport services. The Cabinet of Ministers has approved the proposal presented by the Minister of Transport, Highways, Ports and Civil Aviation, Bimal Ratnayaka, to establish a subsidiary company belonging to the Sri Lanka Transport Board and to implement the proposed project. The education sector is under severe pressure due to the ongoing shortage of teachers and increasing the inequality in the rural and areas with less facilities. Under this condition, the necessity has arisen to introduce a system of transformation in the education sector. Accordingly, the Cabinet of Ministers has approved the proposal presented by Prime Minister Dr. Haruni Amarasooriya to establish a task force on digital education transformation. The Ministry of Health and Mass Media provides Triposha as a supplementary nutritional food to all pregnant mothers, lactating mothers and malnourished infants above 6 months and age and less than 5 years. Maize and soybeans are the main ingredients used in the production of Triposha. The annual requirement of maize for Sri Lanka Triposha Limited is 18,000 metric tons and the monthly requirement is 1,500 metric tons. Taking into consideration the difficulties in obtaining the required standard of maize locally, the Cabinet of Ministers has approved the proposal presented by Minister of Health and Mass Media Dr. Nalinda Jathis to issue an import license to the said institution to import the required amount of maize each year to maintain continuous production of Triposha. The Cabinet of Ministers has approved the proposal presented by Minister of Environment Dr. Dhammika Pattabadi to declare an area of 2.5 kilometers identified in the canal flowing from Rampitigala to Hapugoda in the Galapitamada area of the Divisional Secretariat of Varakapola, 15 meters on each side from the centre line of the stream as the Nikkadupola Sanctuary as a habitat of Bandulapedia fish variety. President Anura Kumar Dissanayake stated that the 2025 budget speech that steps will be taken to introduce a new act in respect of public and private partnerships with the objective of facilitating investment promotion. Accordingly, the Cabinet of Ministers has approved the proposal presented by the President in principle to prepare a draft to establish the said unit with a formal legal mechanism and to establish a public-private partnership unit instead of the currently operating National Agency for Public-Private Partnership. The Sri Lanka Strategic Plan of the World Food Programme has been prepared as a tool for the main plan covering 4-year period, including strategic priorities and programs. The provision of $74.87 million has been allocated for Sri Lanka under this plan. The strategic program is implemented by signing a formal and mutual memorandum of understanding. Accordingly, the Cabinet of Ministers has approved the proposal presented by the President to sign a memorandum of understanding between the Sri Lankan government and the World Food Programme of the United Nations with the objective of facilitating the successful implementation of the aforementioned strategic plan.
640 health assistants who served under contract basis were provided with permanent appointments today. It was held at the Sri Lanka Foundation Institute under the patronage of Minister of Health and Mass Media, Dr. Nalinda Jayatissa. The assistants who received permanent appointments today have been serving as field mosquito control assistants under contract basis from time to time for over 8 years since 2017. Minister Dr. Nalinda Jayatissa said that he is in great satisfaction for being able to announce appointments for individuals who had long been involved in the struggle to secure their rightful place in the health sector. Speaking at the official ceremony, the minister noted that it was a matter of personal pride to present these appointments, especially as someone who had once advocated for these very demands before assuming ministerial office. He acknowledged that for the past 8 years, some individuals had relentlessly pursued their cause without losing focus, despite having a limited hope under previous administrations. Dr. Jayatissa highlighted the remarkable dedication of those who served continuously for years on low wages, contributing to the health sector while simultaneously advocating for their rights. He praised their courage and resilience, describing them as a group that bravely confronted life's challenges.
Parliamentarian Dasiri Jayasekara today accepted that he had made a false statement at a media briefing recently regarding an auction of North Central Provincial Council vehicles. Parliamentarian Dasiri Jayasekara at a media briefing held recently had stated that 12 vehicles of North Central Provincial Council were sold at a low price of 28 million rupees. The governor of the North Central Provincial Council, Basanta Jinadasa, in response has rejected those allegations outrightly at a media briefing. Proper prices of vehicle sales were revealed at a media briefing, and he also stated that legal action will be taken against those who made false statements. In this backdrop, Dasiri Jayasekara, holding a media briefing today, stated that he presented false information regarding the vehicle auction of the North Central Province. Parliamentarian Dasiri Jayasekara apologized for his earlier claim that a BMW belonging to the North Central Provincial Council was sold under 5 million rupees, admitting the information he relied on was incorrect. He said that he was misled by inaccurate reports published in newspapers and that as a reasonable politician he is committed to correcting the record.
And here's a few more local news items in brief. Engineer Chandana Bandara had been appointed as the new chairman of the National Water Supply and Drainage Board. The appointment has been made by Minister Andrakana Tilaka. Accordingly, new chairman Chandana Bandara assumed his duties at the head office of the National Water Supply and Drainage Board in Ratmalana. Nanoya police say that 300-meter stretch of Nanoya area along the Hatton-Waradia main road has been limited for one lane due to a landslide threat. According to police, a sidewall near the Nanoya road has collapsed. The police has limited the road for one lane since the threat of landslide is still prevailing. The higher ordination ceremony of the Venerable Kalaniya Chandimathera was held recently at the Malvatu Mahavihara in Kandy. Venerable Kalaniya Chandimathera is a student of Venerable Beligala Amarasiri Nayakathera. Minister Andrakana Tilaka and several others were present at this occasion.
And meanwhile, the Embassy of Turkey in Sri Lanka hosted a World Breakfast Day event celebrating the richness of Turkish culinary traditions, and the event, which was held recently, also highlighted the cultural significance of the morning meal in Turkish society. The event featured an elaborate spread of Turkish delicacies, emphasizing the breakfast in Turkey is more than a meal but a cherished ritual of connection and community. Turkish ambassador to Sri Lanka, Zemi Turgu, was present at this occasion. The traditional Turkish breakfast, known as kahvaltı, is a generous and vibrant spread meant to be shared. The term kahvaltı translates to before coffee in Turkish, referring to the meal enjoyed before sipping rich Turkish coffee. It brings together fresh ingredients, regional specialities and warm hospitality. Ambassador Turgu highlighted that the celebration not only showcased Turkey's culinary heritage but also reflected the deepening ties between Turkey and Sri Lanka.
Could you share with us the importance of the World Breakfast Day for Turkey and why it's important to celebrate it internationally?
Okay. So World Breakfast Day is a UNESCO event. First Sunday of every June was celebrated as World Breakfast Day. But we decided to use that event to promote Turkish breakfast because Turkish breakfast is very unique in terms of its richness, rich food, and to show our Turkish cuisine. As you know, Turkish cuisine is very famous. So we would like to use all those food items to promote our culture. It's a cultural diplomacy. It's part of our cultural diplomacy to promote Turkey to the other countries, to the people, and we would like to promote all those items, food items, to the world, like your hoppers. So you can promote your hoppers, we are promoting our food. So it's part of the culture.
Stay tuned with international stories after this break. Welcome back with your international stories, and moving towards South Korea. The South Koreans turned out in large numbers on Tuesday to vote in a snap presidential election.
The vote follows 6 months of political turmoil triggered by former leader Yoon Suk-yeol's brief imposition of martial law. The new president will face the challenge of rallying a society impacted by the attempt at military rule and an export-heavy economy reeling from unpredictable protectionist moves by the United States. After being impeached by Parliament in December, President Yoon was removed from office by the Constitutional Court on April 4th, less than 3 years into his 5-year term, triggering the snap election that stands to remake South Korea's political leadership and foreign policies. The voter turnout was over 77.8%, which is the highest figure since 1997. Vote counting is expected to begin shortly after the polls close.
Welcome back with your sports update. In 2024 Western Provincial Cricket Award ceremony was held at the CCC grounds yesterday under the leadership of the President of Sri Lanka Cricket, Shammi Selva. Manadi Danayakara of Princess of Wales won the award for the Best Female Player of 2024, representing Western Province South. Vihas Tevmika of Thurston College, Colombo was judged the Best Player of Western Province North, while Dushen Udavala became the Player of Under-15 tournament. Rumiru Pereira of Royal College, Colombo was judged the Player of Under-17 tournament. Sahan Kaushalya of Lumbini Vidyalaya of Western Province South was the Player of Under-19 tournament, while Irandi Hansomali became the Female Player of the same tournament. Katamaram Club of Western Province 3rd Division became the best sports club. Mehidu Sports Club were the runners-up. And with that, we conclude tonight's news. Do just tomorrow at the very same time. I'm Charita signing off with Kasuni. Stay safe. Good night.
Good night.